Are these fish hungry, or is the food just that good? The backstory to the development of Xtreme Aquatic Foods in this Fincast. Hi everybody, John here with another Fincast, and this is my latest foster puppy, Winnie. Hey Winnie, say hello. You're a good girl, yes. She's a Schnauzer from the Roanoke Valley SPCA, and she'll be going to find a forever home soon, but for right now she's staying with me, and I interrupted her from chewing up one of my socks so that she could join us here for just a second. As you know, I've started a series of reports called Cichlid Adventures, and it's a look at how primarily African cichlids came to the United States. And I've done several interviews with a man named Rick Birrow, and you can take a look at the other Fincasts involving Rick and some of his early exploits. But he was one of the first people to bring African cichlids to the United States back in the 1970s. And during that time, he also started his own fish farm and started supplying cichlids to the American hobby market. He's had such an influence that he actually named a lot of the fish that we have in the hobby today. VC10, that was Rick. Zebra cichlids, they're actually orange. I don't know why they call them zebras, but that was Rick who named them. Kenyai cichlids, very common. You can even buy them in Walmart, named by Rick. So with his fish farm in Florida, he needed to feed all of those fish, and he created his own food. In the very beginning, it was kind of like paste.
I used a 60-quart pizza mixer, and we used baby cereal as the binder, and we added our shrimp, our krill, our spirulina, our astaxanthin, our vitamin packs, our vitamin C to it, water, and mixed it, and then we fed a dough. And it was, you could squeeze it into a ball, and it was, we feed the whole farm that. My customer would say, "Can I feed your food? Your fish are great."
But then they found that the pellets gave them a more even distribution of the various nutrients, so they switched over to pellets.
And actually what we realized after we pelletized it is there was a loss of vitamins, a loss of color, a loss of protein when these fish were eating this mush, because it would break apart. The pellet now, when the fish eats the pellet, it's going down, it's getting every pellet is a actual full dose of everything. So that's what when we found out, we cut down on breeders, we can cut down on feeding, we cut down everything because the fish were actually getting the whole thing at one time. So that's a good thing.
The fish food had to do a couple of things. It had to create healthy fish that were in breeding condition that would create lots of healthy fry. And it also had to be the food that would produce the colors that the customers wanted in the fish, nice bright colors. So they started tweaking the formula for the food over a period of years until they had it dialed in.
Well, for example, we use a organic spirulina, which provides the blue-green color for the fish. The fish eats our food, processes the spirulina, turns it into the blue-greens that it needs to get the blue-greens on the body. We use astaxanthin for the reds. We use some paprika in there just because we've always put paprika, and we're Hungarians, and Hungarians use paprika. We use shrimp meal, which provides some of the color also, but mainly our shrimp meal is mainly a protein source. So what we have is, with the astaxanthin, the spirulina, the paprikas, we're covering every aspect of the spectrum. The fish take it in, they take it for their coloration, they move it to their colors, that's it, period, the end.
I actually had the chance to talk to another fish farmer who swears by the Xtreme Aquatic Food. Ray Quillen has another large farm down in Florida and raises millions of fish for the hobby every year. Well, due to circumstances beyond his control, he switched away from the Xtreme Foods, and he saw a 30 to 40% decrease in the production of fry on his farm.
I raise angelfish, the largest producer of angels in the United States, and tetras and barbs. Last year we sold 3.8 million fish total off our farm. It's a cleaner feed. Don't have to feed as much, get better results on the babies, the fry, a better survival rate on fish.
Something else I like about Xtreme is the fact that there are no dyes. So in fact, sometimes the food may actually look different.
Well, we don't use anything we don't use any dye in our food. It's not necessary for me at the farm, and it's not necessary as far as I'm concerned for the fish. we could make our food the same color year round. But if you take, for example, if you look at a shrimp, let's say, that's caught in the summertime and one that's caught in the wintertime, in the summer it might be pink. That depends what it's eating. In the wintertime it might be more silver. Since we don't use any dyes, we are subject to what we put in the food. The spirulina is green. We may have shrimp meal that's a little more pink at different times of the year. It doesn't affect the protein level. It doesn't affect the color of the fish. All it affects is the color of the food.
So eventually, Rick decided to package the food and start selling it in different sizes and slightly different formulations for different species of fish.
Now, over time, what we've done is we've taken the 1.5 formula, we've turned it into a 3.0, we've turned it into a monster. That's just size. It doesn't have anything to do with the formula. We have other formulas, which are community formulas, which have a little variation, and we have other formulas for catfish. We have a scraper, has more spirulina. We have a spirulina flake. We have a krill flake. We have a combo flake. All these things are what's happened is our customers said, we could use for this variety of fish a smaller pellet. We could use a little bit of different ingredient. But if you feed the monster, for example, if you drop a pellet of monster in with your fry, the fry will eat on it for 5 or 6 hours. So some people have called and said, gosh, your monster is great for feeding fry. So it's kind of, customers always come up with unique ways to use your food. So that's basically what the progression of Xtreme has been.
Once again, I'll remind you that I don't endorse products. I just don't. But Rick challenged me to take this food. He sent it to me and he said, feed it to your fish for a few months and see if you don't see any difference. So I've done that. In fact, I've been doing it for 5 months now, and I can tell you that my fish are definitely healthy. They are more colorful than I've seen before, and a wide spectrum of fish like it. You've seen this tank in previous Fincasts. It's in my office. But look at the colors in my Nanochromis Perilous. The only times I even see my plecos, which are usually hiding in the driftwood, including this cool butterfly pleco, is in the evening, and that's when I add the Xtreme Cat Scrapers discs. It literally brings the fish out of the woodwork. The Corys obviously love it. You kind of expect that. And it even brings out my Farawalla catfish, and he will glom onto a disc and just eat away. And check out the blues in my turquoise discus. They have literally never been this bright. Now I can say the same for the Geophagus and the minnows, if you will, up in the water column in my tank. These are rummy-nosed tetras and threadfin rainbows from Australia. They feed on the bits, and their colors absolutely pop. Downstairs, I'm feeding my Tanganyikan cichlids the food, and they're doing great, and I even put the food in my reef tank. I'm not suggesting this is the only way that you can achieve these results. There are other good foods on the market, and we've all used them. But there is an interesting backstory to the Xtreme Aquatic Foods. It comes from development over use, with use over time in a fish farm where they have added and subtracted products until they got the results they want. We've got testimonials from other people in the industry who can use it in a big way and see and measure their results. So I just thought this might be one of those interesting boutique products that you might not know about, that you might be interested in learning more about. It's only available at pet stores, and you may have to ask your store to carry it, and I'll put more information with the description on the Fincast, a link to their website and so forth. Thanks for watching. Hey, I just got a message from a guy who said he's doing a Fincasters marathon. That's a great idea. Why don't you try it as well? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next Fincast.